super, super excited to be with you here today and to talk to you about body language. Oh, what a cool topic, right? Oh, it's just a great topic. And it has been a game changer for me to learn about this communication process called body language. But I gotta walk you through this little story here that you see on the screen. Yes, I'm gonna read it to you. I still remember the day 18 years ago. Actually, I actually need to change that. It's longer than 18 years ago now, when my job was on the line. Way back then, I worked for somebody else, and I was about ready to get fired. My boss was upset with me because I was terrible at sales and I couldn't connect with people. He told me, Duncan, you have to pay attention more. You have to pay more attention to what others are sharing with you. He pretty much yelled that message at me. He was pretty intense. And so I didn't know what to do. So I don't know if I responded out of shock or fear, losing my job, but that day my life changed. I started paying attention to what people were saying. Little did I know that people say more than what comes out of their mouth. This was very interesting, very interesting. And I realized I can get more of the whole story about a person by listening with my eyes. Listening with me eyes. Oh, that's funny. Listening with my eyes and watching a person's movements. I got a clearer message from others as I listened to what they said and watch what their body said. So fantastic to get a bigger picture about what's going on in people's lives. Now we're going to walk through a conversation here this morning. This is a training. Okay. So this morning, this whole process is a training. So you're going to get trained. This is not, I'm not here to dazzle you. I'm here to train you about body language. Now I'm guessing that you are an empath, and I'm guessing that you also are somebody who wants to better connect to people. So I figure that. Okay, so, oh yeah, I got to turn my little video on right now. Oh, there I am. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing we got to think about. We got to think about this for a second. Evolution. Evolution has been going on the planet for a long time. And every single one of us can evolve. Everything on this planet is adjusting and changing. And you can either transform down or transform up. So you know how this works. You can get weaker by the day. And you know this too. You can get fatter by the day, or you can get healthier by the day. I know that's kind of throwing it out there on the table this morning, but we can get weaker or stronger. We can get more healthy or unhealthy by what we eat. We could eat junk food and turn into junk. We can eat healthy food and we can turn into being healthy. We can not exercise and become weak, and we can exercise and we can become strong. So everything has an evolution, right? And so to me, I don't want to be a weak-minded person. I don't want to be weak-minded. I don't want to be weak in my skills. I don't want to be weak in my understanding of things. I want to be good. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good dad. I want to be a good neighbor. I want to have good skills. I just want to be good. And I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for what I can do, but I'm not going to just settle. I'm not going to settle. And I don't know about you, but there are people who who are totally satisfied to settle. They're like, I'm done, I'm grateful, and this is all I want. Not me. I'm going to live to be 100 years old, and I'm going to get the most out of this life as possible. Now, are you like that? I don't know. Are you like that? Are you like that where you want to get the most out of this life? I mean, you figure if you get 100 years to live, you might as well go for it, right? I don't know. Maybe you're not that way. Maybe you are. But tell me in the chat box if you're that way. Do you really want to get the most out of your life? Or kind of just like, plug along doing the same old thing and just kind of go nuts? Because that's what happens is you'll go nuts after a while if you just do the same thing over and over again. For me, if you're like me, you're going to enjoy this training. If you're not like me, I'm going to drive you nuts right now. I'm going to tell you drive you nuts because I really believe it's up to me to unlock my potential. It's me. I got to unlock my potential, my abilities, my pizzazz, my get up and go, I got something to do kind of a thing. I got to unlock that. And I watch some people who just sit there waiting for somebody to come along and light a fire under their bum. They're like waiting for somebody else to motivate them. It's like, no, I don't have time to wait. I got to get me going. So if you don't know me, I come from a little town in Wyoming called Lander. It's got some people in it, so it's not super tiny. I think they have like 5 or 6 stoplights now. But it's Lander, Wyoming. It's about right there in Wyoming, a little bit southwest from Lander. Up here is Yellowstone. These are the Wind River Mountains. Super good fishing. If you're a history buff, the pioneers came through the Wind River Mountains about right through there, through South Pass. They came across, and then the trail went right across the southern part of Wind River Mountains, and then they moved their way out west. So super cool place. So grew up there in Lander, Wyoming. Loved it. Growing up, school and I did not agree. I did not like school. I went to it, but I didn't do well. My grades were usually in the toilet. I struggled all the way through school. And then I grow up and blah, blah, blah. I don't go to school because I don't like school. But yet I start to struggle. And then, long story short, I learn about a principle called vision boards. I don't know if you know what a vision board is, but behind me in this picture is a vision board. And I started using vision boards. And I don't know if you've tried using a vision board, and maybe we need to do this training another day, but vision boards like woke up my brain to the power of the mind. And so here's Kirk Duncan, not highly educated, but definitely learned a lot about the power of the mind, the power of visualization, the power of language, and the power of emotion. The 3 key elements: visualization, language, and emotions. 3 powerful elements in our life. The 3 key elements. And so I started learning about vision boards, and my life started to change. I started having cool things happen to me. And as cool things happened, I got asked to teach people these cool things that were happening to me and what I was doing and how I was doing it. And then people started learning, and they brought friends, and they said, teach my friend, teach my family. And then it grew and it grew and it grew. And then before I knew it, boom, I'm like teaching big rooms of people. And it's like, wait a second, I'm a high school graduate, and I'm up here teaching school teachers and principals and CEOs of companies and leaders of organizations and parents and families and all these people, these amazing people. And I'm like, how did I get here? This is so crazy. But I woke up my mind. I woke up my mind with the power of visualization, the power of language, and the power of emotion. And to understand how to collaborate and coordinate those 3 to produce, to become a producer. we're all consumers, but I became a producer. Like I could make stuff happen. And it's not pixie dust. It's not pixie dust. I'm not going to sell you a bag of pixie dust. I'm going to tell you right now, there's potential inside your head and inside your body. What? That can just totally blow your mind about what you can do. And I figure you're in personal development, self-improvement, so you get what I'm talking about. But I got to tell you, you got to figure this out because it is so good, so cool, so cool. So then I start teaching, and oh my goodness, the people started showing up. And I was teaching classes like this. You see in front of you, I was teaching an event like this every single month, sometimes twice a month, a 3-day training class every single month for 15 years. Every month, events like this that I invited people to come to. This is not somebody else's event. I'm not standing on somebody else's stage. This is me teaching the things that I've learned. And so for 15 years, every single month, 3-day events, sometimes two. I was teaching like 54 live events a year, this and other events. I just love this because I love waking people up. I love opening their eyes. I love opening their mind because when they come alive, they produce. We're all consumers. We all consume products. We all consume food. We consume time. We consume resources. But there's a higher level to live called a producer. And there's even a step above that called a super producer. And that's when you can produce enough for other people, not just yourself. But I found this world of being a producer and being productive. And then I found the level of being a super producer that I can produce enough for lots of people. And I came alive, even though I was terrible in school. I'm on stage and people would ask me, what's your credentials? And I said, why do I have to have credentials? And they said, well, it depends if I'm going to listen to you or not. And I said, I'll tell you what my credentials are. I'll tell you all the goals I've set and that I got. I got these. Here's this one, this one, this one, and this one. Here's this big one. Here's this other big one. And that was my credentials, is the goals that I've accomplished. That's how I could stand in front of people, is because I was a goal setter and a goal getter. And I had people from big organizations, big companies who would listen to me because I could get goals and I could teach people how to get goals. And if they had a goal to have a better marriage, I could teach them how to do that. If they wanted to make $10,000 a month, $20,000, $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month, I could teach them how to do that. Because it's a head thing. It's a mindset thing. It's your brain. It's your visualization. It's your language. It's your emotions. It's the 3 key elements. It's like you got to get those coordinated. And so I started teaching, and that's my credentials is I can get goals. And I can teach other people how to get goals. And then a beautiful moment started happening is where my wife and I would stand on stage together and teach together because she became a goal getter too. I'll tell you what, every person on this planet secretly wants to get their goals. They don't talk about it much, but they all wish they could set a goal and get it. Everybody does that. Everybody. And if somebody says they don't, they're lying. They're so lying. So then we got on TV. We started talking and sharing with people on TV. Fantastic experience. Over 100 times being on TV. We had very special events that we'd bring people into our home. Private trainings of very high-class people who just really ate this up, who are on the edge and the verge of like ready to just burst out of their shell and to get going. But I got to tell you, the topic that just is so cool is body language. It is so crazy awesome. It's like a ninja skill. Not like you're karate chopping or whatever, but it's like you can know more about people. You can know more about people than what they say. Now, we're going to get into this, right? We're going to get into this, and I'm going to do some training with you today. But I just in case you're wondering if you should listen to me or not, here's a few things that have happened along the way that I hope give you some confidence in me that I'm not going to just throw stuff out at you that I've thought about. These are things that what I'm going to teach you today is that I've used and learned, and it changed my life and helps me change other people's lives. But yeah, along the way, wow, lots of training programs and courses, lots of audiences every year, big audiences, lots of training videos, lots of hours of experiences, lots of presentations, lots of scholarships, lots of sales from our own products, lots of TV appearances, and guess what? All clean language and clean stories. Cool, huh? That's what we do. Now, you look at this picture, and then I show you this. Here's my schooling, but then here's my life. So let's say you messed up in school, and you're just like terrible at taking tests and terrible at trying to read from a book and regurgitate what you just learned. Maybe you learned differently. Maybe you learned from service. Maybe you learned from interaction. It's really difficult for me to learn from a book. It really is. It's why it took me years before I started making workbooks for my programs, because it's tough for me to learn from a book. I'm more tactile, meaning I got to have the experience, and then I can learn like crazy if I'm hands-on, but I'm more of a tactile and a kinesthetic learner. I learn from feeling, and I learn from engagement. But yeah, this is where we're at, and lots of people very happy, lots of success stories along the way. So it's your turn today. So here we go. Here's my intention for today. Let's get clear about what we're going to be doing and investing this time together. Let's get clear so we know we're going to get a return on our investment with the time that you're going to spend with me. Okay, so number one, my plan is to raise your awareness. Raise your awareness of you activating your gifts and talents to a higher level. If you're on this training today, there's something about you that you have a way of reading, interpreting, understanding people at a high level. I'm going to call you an empath. Number two, I'm going to inspire you to get out there and help people, serve people. Because I bet you're still kind of holding back because you still question yourself. Anyway, we're going to address that about you questioning yourself and going, I don't know, who am I? And you're still doing the whole doubt game. You know, we're going to have to talk about that. Then number three, what to watch out for along your path of progression. Because you got to know where the self-sabotage pitfalls are. And I'll tell you where those are at so I can help you with that. And then also, before this is over, I'm going to share with you some options of how you and I can stay together and stay connected. Because I tell you what, I've got a lot to share, and I need somebody to tell. I just want to show and tell to somebody the things that I've learned because, it works for me. And it's like, man, people need to know this because if they did, they could just totally rock and roll in their life. Okay, so that's my intention. And just to get clear about how we're going to walk through these screenshots is this. First, I'm going to address what is an empath, because you might be new to this. You might be your first time jumping on one of these webinars that I've been doing over the last couple months. But then the second part is we're going to get into body language. What is it? And then also what to look for. Because yeah, you might learn about body language, but it doesn't mean you know what to look for. I'm going to point directly at what you want to watch for every day with the people you're around, with your kids, your spouse, your friends, your coworkers. You're out at the grocery store, you're out doing something, you're camping together. There's certain things that I watch for, and I'm going to tell you what they are. And it helps me understand people. It helps me understand the truth. It helps me understand the truth because I don't like dealing with deception. It's like, no, let's just get to the truth. Because you're going to find out how much deception is going on. It's unreal. No wonder there's so many problems and so much miscommunication. And then number 4, I'll show you what you can do with this skill of reading body language, what you can do. So good. You're going to love this. Okay, here we go. Okay, first let's talk about empaths. There's a couple myths about empaths, like they're a weirdo and they're kind of zoomy and airy-fairy kind of people. But you're going to find out that there's a lot of people around you that are empaths. They just don't know it. And I'll explain what this looks like. So empaths are out of touch with reality. No, empaths go beyond the surface and find the truth. That's the truth about that one. Okay, empaths are few and far between. Nope, the truth is more and more people are tuning into their empath abilities for safety, success, and sanity. Yeah, empath is not some kind of like frivolous thing. It's not frivolous. Let me just repeat this. Are you seeing this right here? More and more people are tuning into their empath abilities for safety, success, and sanity. And I'm going to show you what that all means here in just a moment. Because if you are not tuning into your empath abilities, man, you're going to have a rough go at it in the upcoming future here. You're going to really wish you had empath abilities. And everybody can do it. Everybody's got empath abilities unless you're a narcissist or a sociopath. If you're a narcissist or a sociopath, I feel for you because you have a miserable life. You are just miserable. You are miserable. Anyway, back to empaths. Okay, empaths are just overly sensitive people. Nope. Empaths are super connected to their surroundings. And while they are sensitive, they are sensing, reading, analyzing, interpreting all the messages, emotions, behaviors, and data they can. Empaths are highly in tune with their surroundings. Now, if they're unskilled, is that a word? Unskilled? If they lack the skill of how to use their empath abilities, they can be stuck in depression and be miserable because they have so much incoming information. They don't know what to do with it. So I do find that there's empaths who lack training on how to use this gift and talent that they have. But you find a healthy empath, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Are they on? And they get what's going on. Nothing gets by a healthy empath. You can't fake out a healthy empath. I mean, they are on, so on. Okay, so let's look at this. What it means to be an empath. The term empath comes from empathy, which everybody has empathy, unless you're a sociopath or a narcissist, which is the ability to understand the experiences and feelings of others outside of your own perspective. Whoa, what does that mean? It means you can literally see through their eyes. You literally can sense how they feel. I'm not talking like mind reading. Some people get to the high level of empaths where they can really tune in to the thoughts of people. But the majority of empaths are people who can be connected to others, where they can be very in alignment with them. And so is this a weird thing? Is this like going against religious kind of stuff? No, this is called connected. You and I both know that people today are super disconnected. And as they're disconnected, they have marriage problems, they have self-esteem issues, they have self-confidence issues, they have all kinds of internal problems, which create external problems. And so the problem is that they're disconnected. An empath is somebody who's highly connected. But it's really weird how the society looks at an empath as something weird. But the truth is, they're really connected. So much more connected. Now, there are some empaths who kind of make it mystical. It's not mystical. It's a very clear skill and gift that anybody can develop. Anybody can develop, and it's called being connected. Okay, are all humans empaths? Empathy is the ability most humans have to understand the way someone else is feeling. Oh, here it is. Unless you're a psychopath, narcissist, or sociopath, you will have the ability to feel empathy for others on some level. People very high up on the scale of having empathy are known as empaths, and they take it to the next level. So it's very normal to be an empath, and there's all different layers of how to do this. Now, I encourage people to raise their level of empath abilities, because that means you're more connected to your spouse, to your kids, to your job, to your career, to your life purpose, to your friend, to your mom, to your dad, to God. It's called connected. And when people are disconnected and they're moaning and groaning about their life, and it's like, you need to get connected. Oh, yeah, that's what I need. That's what I want. Spouses want to be more connected. Parents want to be connected to their kids. But then I say the word empath and they think it's some kind of weird thing. And it's like, no, it's called empathy. Just having higher levels of empathy. It's a good thing. Drives me nuts when people email me after I do a class like this and they say, you're not teaching people how to be connected to God. It's like, what? Are you awake? Are you even awake? Did you even hear what I said? Empathy is a way of being super connected, and an empath is somebody who has high empathy. Did you get that? So you don't have to email me later and say that I'm pulling people away from God, because it has to do with love and compassion. Empaths are high on love and compassion, care and concern. And empaths are huge problem solvers. Oh, fantastic problem solvers. I mean, you want to have friends as empaths. You want to have like a bunch of them around you, because they are just amazing to be around, because they're so positive and they're opportunists, as long as they're a healthy empath. Because if they're unhealthy, they are grumpy and crunchy, and they can be mean because they're like on the verge of depression. But that's my job, is to find those who are unhealthy as an empath and help them. Okay, so let's move through this. Okay, what is an empath's personality type? Are deeply sensitive individuals who are highly attuned to the emotions and energy of others. They can easily take on the emotions of others as their own. So if you have ever felt like your personality almost continually attracts those who need guidance and help in your life, you may be an empath. Many life coaches are empaths. Many empaths can be life coaches, or they could be a mentor or a speaker, because they're so connected to people. If you're an unhealthy empath and you become a healthy empath, you're going to find yourself wanting to teach people, wanting to help people. That's what you're going to find. You're going to be like, wow, I want to help people. And the reason why you want to help them is because you're so in tune with people. Now, some empaths are in tune with animals. Some empaths are in tune with nature, but it's all the same thing. They're just in tune, meaning they're connected, and they can literally have higher levels of communication there. So that's the cool part about this. And that's what I love about this. Okay, what are the characteristics of here's some more characteristics of an empath. Empaths are highly attuned people about people's moods, good and bad. They feel everything, sometimes to an extreme. They take on negativity such as anger and anxiety, which can exhaust them. If they're around peace and love, though, their bodies take this and flourish. So just so you're aware, if you are an empath and you soak up people's moods, if you're around grumpy people, you can become grumpy. If you're around people who are awesome, you can become awesome. But this is one of those things as an empath you got to learn how to do, is not soak up people's negative moods, because that can become really yucky. But yeah, empaths like literally feel what other people feel to an extreme. It is a rare gift which makes them what they are, empaths. They sense the feelings of others as their own, which makes them great listeners. That's why empaths want to help people, and trouble solvers, because empaths listen with more than just their ears. Empaths have one trait that makes them even more powerful. These people are experts in human psychology. And you know what we could put right here? Reading body language. Oh yeah, empaths make natural body language readers if they turn that part on. And that's my hope today, is we activate that side of you to start noticing the movements of others as a communication. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. Okay, but let's look at this. Let's look at this. Okay. Do empaths get angry? Of all the emotions that empaths experience, the most powerful and potentially destructive feeling is anger. Of course, anger can be destructive to everyone, but for empaths, it can be especially potent. This only fuels the anger that the empath is feeling and increases the stress and anxiety. An empath who has anger inside them is stuck. They can't hardly do anything. Their gift shuts down. Their talent shut down. They can't think. They got foggy brain. So if you're an empath and you're feeling stuck, your issue is you're angry at somebody. You're angry at someone or God or yourself. But anger is like the worst thing for you. It's terrible. It's terrible. That's why years ago, I really studied a lot about emotional management, because I had to get anger out of me because it was ruining me. So I had to get anger out of me and keep it out of me. Anything like mad, upset, irritated, bugged, bothered, angry, I got to keep that stuff out of me, because if it gets in me, it'll shut me down. So if you're feeling shut down as an empath, bingo, you're looking at it right here. That's what's messing with you. Okay. What is a super empath? A super empath, well, there's 1% to 2% of the population are born with a rare condition. That means that whenever they see someone else being touched, they feel a tactile sensation on their own body. What? That's crazy. But I know what that's like. I've had those experiences. Oh, so wild. It is so wild. But wait. What is a toxic empath? Toxic empathy is when a person over-identifies. You hearing this? Over-identifies with someone else's feelings and directly takes them on as their own. This may leave you feeling drained and make you feel like you have no time left to take care of your own problems. Toxic empathy is when you don't just mirror other people's feelings, you absorb them. I'm going to read this one more time. You need to listen carefully. Toxic empathy is when a person over-identifies with someone else's feelings and directly takes them on as their own. This may leave you feeling drained. If you're going through the day and you feel drained, you are most likely in toxic empathy. And it'll make you feel like you have no time left to take care of your own problems. I bet you do this. I bet you do this. And you're like, well, man, I help everybody else and then I don't have time to take care of my stuff. You could be in toxic empathy. You're not just mirroring or sensing people's feelings. You're unconsciously absorbing them. And they're coming into you. Just like you're a sponge. Just like a sponge picks up water, your untrained mind is allowing your body to sponge or soak up other people's down feelings, their bummed out moods, their issues, their problems. And then you're soaking up not just one person, but many people. And then here you are in the toxic empathy. So I need to bring this to your attention as an empath, that you need training to know how to keep that out. And awareness is the first step to changing anything. So I'm raising your awareness. And here's something I want you to think about. You may have a child of yours who is an empath, who is always tired, always having low energy. And guess what? Your child is an empath who doesn't know how to block that. And they're absorbing everybody's bad moods and their bad energy and their negativity, and they're just getting piled on top of. This is why you need to hang around me more and learn about these things so that you could help your child. Children are not exempt from being empaths. In fact, a lot of children right now at a very young age have empath abilities, and the parents don't see it. They don't even know what it looks like. They have no idea what it is. But then their child is tired, moody, always down, kind of slow. But it's almost like depression. I'm going to say it. I think sometimes when people are labeled as depressed, it's like, no, it's toxic empathy. But I'm not going to go against a doctor. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying most people don't talk about empaths and they don't talk about toxic empathy, and they don't know that this is actually an ability, that it's a skill and talent that they haven't learned how to use. I've observed very talented empaths who are struggling and are very down on themselves, and they're looking for some solution. And what they actually needed was training on how to govern what comes in and what stays out. And then their lives change. So you hang around me. I can teach you a lot about this and where you've been trying to figure some things out. But if you have a child that's going through this, man, they're not broken. They just need help of understanding, oh, you're an empath and you're soaking up people's feelings, and you get to put borders up and boundaries so that that stuff does not come into you, and you get to protect yourself. You really get to protect yourself. So being an empath is super awesome, but you got to pay attention to what you're doing, because it is very good to connect to people. But if you connect to a negative person, that negativity will come to you. So what does an empath look like? They look like normal people. They don't have weirdness about them. They're very normal people are empaths. They're not dressed weird. They're not, they don't talk weird. They're just normal people. And there are so many people who are empaths and high-level empaths, and they have no idea that they even have this skill. So I highly suggest you embrace your weirdness about this. Okay, so let me just explain to you as an empath, because this is going to help you understand why you're so good at reading body language. And then we're going to jump into body language. Okay, every person, now we're starting the body language training. So listen, so it's empath and body language training. So listen carefully, because if you don't understand the foundational principles, you're going to miss the skill. You're going to miss the absolute skill that you have. You can always go read a body language book and fill your head full of information, but learn the skill so you always can interpret. You want to get better at interpretation, not just fill your head full of a bunch of books. Okay, okay, here we go. Every person has information inside them. Every thought, emotion, memory, and intelligence is all information. That information is stored in your body. It's inside you. Information doesn't just sit inside you. Information from inside you comes out of you all the time. Information is always coming from you. It's happening all the time. So this information doesn't just sit in your head. Information travels from the inside of us to the outside all the time. You can't turn it off. The information inside of you goes to the outside of your skin all the time. All the time. You can't stop it. Information is always traveling between people. Always. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because you're out of tune with it doesn't mean it's not happening. That's what's funny is when people who are out of tune tell me that's not true. And it's like, you're out of tune. You wouldn't even have a clue what you're talking about. It's like the radio station is always on. You might be out of tune with the radio station, but it's always on. So people are giving off information every single day. It's like they're always talking. Information's always coming from them. Information is constantly being exchanged. You can't stop this from happening. You can learn how to tune into it. So you're giving off information. I give off information. And here's the good example. If someone is sitting in a room and they're in a bad mood, and you walk into the room, you know you can feel their bad mood, right? They didn't say anything. They didn't look at you, but you walk in and you can feel something's wrong. That's called information. That information communicated to you that this person's in a bad mood. So all the time we're giving off information, and that information travels through vibration. So we give off a vibration. Everything gives off a vibration. Everything. You, me, your house, your fridge, your couch, your cat, your dog, the trees, the rocks, everything gives off a vibration. So everything is communicating all the time. But you might rely on only a cell phone and your mouth for communication, but there's all kinds of communication going on all the time. And if you're out of tune with that, you miss that communication. And you only get a small portion of the communication. So you being out of tune, you miss out. And you also get miscommunication because you're out of tune. So you can get in tune and get more clear communication. So this is where an empath has an advantage. An empath is more in tune. So that's why empaths are more easily adapt to reading body language, because they are more in tune. That's why empaths can help people solve problems, because they're more in tune to what's going on. And people who are out of tune with what's going on, they're out of the communication, they're out of tune, they tend to have more struggles, more problems, more issues, and they get stuck and they pay a price and they lose. They lose. So the more in tune you are, the more you will advance. The less in tune you are, you will fall behind and you will lose opportunities. You will miss things. You'll miss it. You'll just miss. So there's a lot of benefit to becoming in tune to information that's being communicated all the time through everything. And I know that's huge. And it's like, what? But what you want to practice is getting more in tune with yourself, with others, with your surroundings. to actually, I'm going to say it, wake up to the ongoing communication that's going on between you and all things. But we're going to focus more on the communication between you and another person when it comes to body language. But I'm giving you the bigger picture here before we narrow it down to the body language piece. Because body language is fascinating, but it's also a very, very, very critical form of communication. And if you don't know how to do it, you miss out on stuff. Okay, so this information that comes from you communicates to everybody else who you are, how you are, what you can do, where you hurt, what you avoid, what's out of alignment, and how to get in alignment. I mean, this is just a sample of the information you give off every second of every day. You can't hide this. That's what you're going to find out, is you can't hide who you are, how you are, what you can do, where you hurt, what you avoid, what's out of alignment, how to get in alignment. This information is going on all the time. But people who are out of tune with it don't even know it's happening. But you become in tune with it, and it's like, wow, people give off information all the time. It's incredible. It's incredible. So what I call this is the sense ability. How well are you designed to sense the information coming from somebody? This is your sense ability. Your sensibility, because you would be able to sense what is good in this person's life and to be able to sense what is not good in this person's life. You'd be able to sense what is presently going on, and you would be able to sense what has happened in their past. But to be able to have a higher sense ability, you want to do everything you can legally, morally, and ethically to learn how to become more in tune. That is the thing to focus on in life, to become more in tune to people, to yourself, to your surroundings, to the communication that's going on. It's beautiful. Okay, so here's the thing. Common people listen to only the words people say. And that's what people listen to, is they listen to what people say to get information. Or empaths listen with their eyes and their senses. Empaths listen with their ears and eyes and senses. They're using multiple listening abilities. And that's what's cool about an empath, is that they have this ability to listen with their ears, their eyes, and their senses. And they are highly in tune. That's why empaths make such great life coaches, mentors, speakers, motivational speakers, trainers. It's why they're so good at it, is because they're in tune with people. So what is it that an empath is actually hearing? They are hearing the words that people say. They can pick up on thoughts. They pick up on the tone of voice and how they speak. They pick up on the energy or the vibration of, I'm going to just add that there. I think that's important that we add that. So it's the energy and vibration from the person. And they pick up the non-verbal communication, which is body language, which is the wiggles, the movements, the gestures. And an empath can pick up on behavior, like the patterns of behavior. All of these an empath can pick up on. Now that's a healthy empath, that they can pick up on these things. An unhealthy empath is usually depressed and upset and sad and overwhelmed with all the negativity, because they've soaked up everybody's emotions, and they're in toxic empathy, and they're struggling. But a healthy empath, boy, when they're on, man, they are on, because they can pick up on all these things. So the topic today is about this one category, body language. I could do training with you about every single one of these. I mean, this is my life's work, is to teach people how to become in tune to fully listen to another human being and to be able to read and interpret the information somebody's giving off. And you know what this does? Let me just tell you what this does. If you listen to all these angles, you can tell if what this person is saying is true or not. If it's true, or if it's a lie. I don't think you like being lied to. And I bet you wish you could discern truth. So your ability to have empathy raises your ability to sense truth. And boy, today in the world, wouldn't it be good to be able to discern between truth and lies? With your kids, with your spouse, with your friends, with your coworkers, with your team, with your neighbors, with the rest of what's going on in the world. So to me, this is an important skill to learn, not just for your empath ability, but for sanity and safety. You remember when I pointed that out? Let me just go back to that one more time right here. Nope, not that one, this one. The truth is, more and more people are tuning in to their empath abilities for safety, success, and sanity. People want to be more in tune because they want to know the truth. They want to know the truth. And the only way we're going to know the truth is if we tune in better to the information people are giving off, and we can feel it, hear it, sense it. And we check all those sources, and then we can find out if this is true, what they're saying. So I that's what I love about this, is that this is a life skill. It's not just a party trick. Being an empath is not a party trick. But I'll tell you right now. I'm gonna throw this on the table in front of you. If you are not a life coach yet, I'm going to urge you and nudge you to become a mentor, a facilitator, a trainer, a life coach, a counselor, a leader, so that you can serve people. I'm just going to put this on the table in front of you, because if I see you next week, or I see you at the grocery store, or maybe I'm traveling and you live in a different country and I see you and we cross each other's path on the sidewalk, you're going to hear me say, you should be a life coach. What is a life coach? That is a person who's dedicated to helping other people fine-tune their skills and upgrade their life. Fine-tune their skills and upgrade their life. And so that's what you can do as an empath for other people. Fine-tune their skills and upgrade their life. And yes, we're super grateful for what they have and where they're at, but we're not done yet. We're not dead yet. There's more in this life to do besides settle. And so empaths make great life coaches. And if you're not one yet, and you're like, oh, I don't know, that's just not my thing. Yeah, it is. And you could be officially a life coach or an unofficial life coach, but you're going to help people fine-tune their skills and upgrade their life. And so you're designed to help people. And you can deny that all you want, and you can doubt that all you want. But if you're here and you're listening to me, you have the ability to serve and help people. And God has given you a gift and talent. And if you're not using it, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. It's like, that's why you're miserable. That's why you're still lost about life, is you're not using the gifts and talents that God gave you to serve people. I'm telling you, that's what my problem was. My problem was I was hiding from the fact of me being able to help people, because I kept throwing this back at God. I said, God, I'm stupid. I can't help people. And God would say, no, I gave you a gift. I'm like, what did you give me? He says, I gave you a gift to listen to people. I was like, that's not going to do anything. And he goes, no, you will. You'll help people. Well, thank heaven he stuck with it. He stuck with it. And he's like, just go help people. And I'm like, well, I don't have all those fancy certificates. And he goes, you don't need that. Go help people. So now that's what I do. I help people all over the world. All over the world. And you could do the same thing if you just stop denying it and stop doubting it and actually surrender to the fact that you do have a gift and talent to serve people. So if you're not a life coach yet, I'll help you. I'll help you know how to do this. Your empath abilities and life coach skills. I can help you with that. You will come alive doing that type of work. Okay, let's get into talking about body language more. Okay, a large contributor to a problem is miscommunication or misinterpretation of the communication. So where does that come from? Miscommunication and misinterpretation. Let's go to this diagram right here. Now, hang in there with me as I go to explain this to you. This is a big diagram. It's going to take you a minute to kind of absorb it and learn it, but I'm going to tell you the way things work. Okay, so follow along. Okay, watch this. Okay, here's your head. This is you. Sorry, I didn't give you any hair. This is your head. This is your body. Your body moves. It wiggles. It moves and wiggles. Okay, up here in your head, we're going to divide it into conscious, subconscious. What's the difference? Well, when your consciousness shuts down, you go to sleep. Your subconscious never goes to sleep. Your subconscious runs your body. Your liver, your guts, your kidneys, your heart. It runs everything. Cell division, repair of your body. If you get cut, it repairs the cut. Your subconscious is always awake and it runs all the functions of your body. It is the boss. Your subconscious is the boss of who you are. It's the control center. Conscious is when you are awake. Isn't that interesting? That your subconscious will put you to sleep and say, you need to go to sleep. We have to do some repairs. And so it puts you to sleep. And then while you're sleeping, it does all of its processing and does all of its maintenance and cleanup on you. And then when it's finished, then it wakes you up and say, okay, get up. You got to go to the bathroom. Get up. You got to go to the bathroom. Okay, now get dressed. Okay, go eat something. We're hungry. And so your subconscious actually drives you. Sometimes you're the driver. Sometimes you're the passenger. But there's a big difference between conscious and subconscious. So consciousness, when you go unconscious, your subconscious puts you to sleep. And so subconscious is always awake, always running everything. Consciously, we think we're running everything, but we're not. We could not and should not try to run our heart consciously. Could you imagine trying to run your organs by saying heartbeat, 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 and then say bladder, hold, heartbeat, bladder, hold, heartbeat. And if you try to run just your bladder and your heart, you would mess up. You would either wet your pants all the time or your heart would stop and you would die. Like, that's only 2 organs. Like, you couldn't even think about that all day long. You would die or you would wet your pants or both. And so it's like, there's no way possible we could consciously run all of our organs. We would forget. We'd be like, oh, kidneys. What do kidneys do? Liver, spleen. It's like, wait, large intestine. Oh, bladder, heartbeat. You would die. You would just make a mess of yourself. So consciously, you can't even run yourself. That's why we need a subconscious that's super powerful. The most powerful thing on the planet is the subconscious. And so conscious is not where everything starts. It's where thinking happens. We make decisions. We think about stuff, we see stuff, we do stuff, but subconscious is the boss. So every time you go to think, you think about 650 words per minute. Like conversation, there's about 650 to 750 words per minute that are being bounced around with, kind of being toyed with in the form of conversations and thoughts, but in word form. And these 670 to 150 words are going on all the time, every minute of your life, always ready to say something. Now, it would be, I think it would be okay for all 650 of those words to come out when it's time to talk. That'd be a lot, right? And that would actually be the whole story of what you're actually thinking. Is if you said what was on your mind. Would it be okay if everything you thought came out of your head and you said it? No, we don't want to know everything you're thinking. No, we don't. Do we really want to know everything that everybody's thinking all the time? Oh boy. So there's a lot of information in here, right? Right. Okay, so do we want to know all that? Not really. Some of it, it's just like, just keep that in your head. Don't say it out loud. Or have you ever said something and you're going, oh, I should not have said that? Or has somebody else ever said something and you're like, you should not have said that. Like you should have kept that in your head. That was not good. Okay, so let's talk about what happens here. The good thing is that this black line right here, in between the conscious and the subconscious, this black line is a filter. It filters and it edits what you're thinking to what you actually say. And so that's a good thing. And sometimes it's a bad thing. And so the good part is it doesn't let out everything. It edits what you were thinking compared to what actually was said. So on an average, 150 words per minute come out when you're in conversation out of that 650. So when people talk, and this is I hope you're hearing this. When people talk, what comes out of their mouth has been edited, which means there are words, sentences, and paragraphs that have been blocked from being said. So only a portion of it comes out of their mouth. So every time a person speaks, there are words and sentences that have been edited and left out. So there's missing information when people speak. What people say is not the whole story. The whole story is right here. But what people say, it's never the whole story. And you need to hear me. If you think what people say is the whole story, you are being deceived. You are relying on a form of communication that is incomplete. And this is not even a liar. We're not even talking about a liar who's intentionally editing. This is all unconscious editing. And then there's conscious editing. So we're not even talking about a liar. We're talking about a person who has nothing to hide. They're just talking. They're editing things. So a liar, they manipulate what they say. But a common good person, every time they say something, there's information missing. Even the people you trust, there's information missing. And they're not doing it on purpose. It just happens. Anyone who talks, there's information that's being edited. So what comes out of their mouth is not the whole story. And that's the first part of learning how to read body language, is that you know that there's missing information, that this is not the whole story. And so then you go looking for the rest of the story. Now, I get it. When somebody says something and you can tell that they're missing some information, you could ask them questions, right? You could ask questions to get more of the information. And that's a great way to get more of the information. But even after asking questions, there's still information missing. The one thing that people don't share is they don't share how they truly feel and how they truly think of the situation. They don't share what they truly feel, and they don't share what they truly think about the situation. So they may answer your questions, but they're going to hold back on that information. So let me just call it out. People hold back information. Some hold back more, some hold back less. You can get some of that information with more questions, but there's going to be some of that information that they will just never tell you. Never tell you. And they think they can hide information from you. That's what they think. They think they can hide that from you because they didn't say it. Okay, watch what happens. What they don't say, so here's 150, comes out. What they don't say is in their subconscious. And what does the subconscious run? It runs your body. Your subconscious main job is to run your body. So the unsaid, the unspoken words, which let's just do math, a simple math, the 500 words that were not expressed, those 500 words are sitting in the subconscious. Those 500 words sitting in the subconscious, where the subconscious runs the body, those 500 words get mixed into the body. So those 500 words go down into the body. And that's why it's called body language. Up here is language. Down here is called body language. So for every 150 words that comes out of a person's mouth in language, there's about 500 words in language that comes out through the movements and wiggles in body language. And that's why it's called body language, is because the words are in the subconscious and the subconscious runs the body, and that's where it shows up. So those words come out in body language. But Kirk, what if I don't want to know those 500? then don't look. Don't look at body language and you won't know what it is. But if you want to get the whole story of what's going on about this person and what they held back. But Kirk, what if it's private? What if it's not private? What if it's necessary? What if it's important? What if it's the truth? What if the rest of what needed to be said was the truth and the truth got put in their body? And what came out was an edited version just for you. What if this is not all of the information? That makes it a partial truth. So if you go to look at somebody's body language, you're looking for the rest of the truth. You're looking for the rest of the information. You're looking for the whole story. And I'll tell you right now, if you continue to live your life with living and following partial truths and partial information, you're going to have problems because there will be miscommunication and there'll be misinterpretation and you will be misled. And you know what happens when you're misled? You waste time, you waste money, you waste resources, and you fall behind and you have problems because you were misled. Now, moving forward in the future, this is 2021, moving into 2022 and 23 and 24, I am not going to be misled. No way. I'm not going to do that. So I'm practicing listening skills. I'm practicing my empath abilities so that I can be more in tune to the rest of the information, whoever I'm talking to. Because I know that the whole story is not coming out. And this is a good person. What if I'm talking to a manipulative person? What if I'm talking to a liar? Well, then what comes out of their mouth is going to be more deceptive, but the truth is going to come out in their body because it's not filtered. The filter's right here. What comes out of their mouth is filtered. But what goes into their body isn't filtered. So let me just put it on the table. I believe body language more than what people say. If I put both of those in front of me and I was going to believe somebody's body language or believe what they said, easy, I would choose their body language. I would choose their body language. So that means I need to learn how to interpret. Because what if my interpretation's off? Well, then that's my own deception, right? But that's why I need to practice and get good at reading body language so that I can interpret it even more and more accurately so that I can get the truth of what's going on. Now, I don't know about you. But I do not like being misled. And this is a good person. This is a good person who unconsciously and maybe consciously is holding back information. I'm sure you've done the same thing to others. I'm sure that there was words that came to your head that you thought about saying, and then you didn't. So you misled that other person. You've done it to people. They've done it to you. And so we're a human race walking around being misled by each other, being misinformed, and we're dealing with a lot of problems. Problems come from misleading and fragmented conversations. To me, I am going to get as much as I can out of reading body language so I can check what they're saying to see if what they're saying is true or not. Because many times what a person says does not match what their body language says. Whoa, what? I know what they said and what their body said two different stories. Two different stories. Which one do you believe? Well, let's go back up here to this slide. Common people only listen to the words people say. Empaths not only listen to what people say, but they listen with their eyes and their senses. Empaths can find the truth in conversation with a person better than a common person. Empaths, a good, healthy empath, is all about truth. And how do you fix anything in this life? Well, you need to know the truth of what's going on. It's tough to fix a problem in your life when you're functioning off of a partial truth. It's even harder when you function off of a lie. You can't fix something that's a lie. And you can't fix something that's a partial truth. We all know for things to change, we have to find the truth of what's going on. So that's why I encourage you and any person I meet that I can sense are slightly empathic to really increase your empath skills, because you have a high sense of finding the truth. And reading body language is another way to find the truth. It is a great way to find the truth. But if you're not trained on how to do this, it becomes very difficult because you can see the movements, but you don't know what they mean. You're not sure that's what's going on. Does this make sense? Put in the chat box if I make any sense. You with me so far? Because this is like the foundational principles of reading body language. This is the reason why you look for body language moves. This is the reason. Now, if you were noticing and paying attention to what I just showed you, you're listening to what people say, but you're looking for confirmation in their movements that this is true. And if you find a discrepancy where what they say and what they did doesn't match, you need to question what it is that they said. And you probably need to pose a question to say, wait a minute, can you explain this more? Because if you see a discrepancy between what they said and what their body language did, and you don't say anything, you're going to function off of what they said. So to me, reading body language has saved me a lot of problems, saved me from problems, and helped me catch potential problems in their infancy, because I could see the truth in the body language and I could course correct what was going on. I hope this is, I wish I was at your kitchen table and just having this discussion with just you, and we could talk about this, and I could, we could like have a dialogue about this, but I'm here, you're there, and we're doing the best we can here. And I hope that this is making sense, because it's a huge part of what kind of skill you want to have moving forward, because you're going to be around people and you're going to want to know if the person you're with, you can trust. You want to make sure that the person you're listening to, you can trust. Because if they're deceiving you, well, then they could take advantage of you. They could rip you off. They could steal from you. They could hurt you. They could manipulate you. And that's not cool. None of that's cool. So that's what I love about this. It's important. Okay, so I hope you got this equation. But Kirk, do you want to know all 500? Wow, that's a lot to find. But let's say instead of finding all 500, let's say I get maybe only 100 words more from the body language. Maybe 500 just isn't possible, and I only get 100 more of a clarity out of their body language. Well, now instead of only relying on 150, I've got more to the story. So even understanding body language a little bit gives me clarity of what's really going on. Cool, huh? So you don't have to find all 500. Any amount of information you can get from body language is going to help you discern what's going on. And I'll tell you, the most important thing about reading body language is to compare what they said to what they moved, how they moved, what their body said, what came out of their mouth and what came out of their body. Were they in alignment? And if it wasn't, something's up. Something's up. Okay, so here's an example. Here's an example. So years ago, oh my goodness, how many years ago is this? Probably, I'm going to guess. Oh, let's see, 5, 15, we're talking 20 years ago. Okay. I'm just going to say 20 years ago. Okay. So 20 years ago, I was working for somebody else in this big business that was across the United States. So I was promoted to be a sales rep for this company. And I was terrible at sales. So bad. So bad. It was terrible. And every day was painful. And I was terrible at it. And my boss yelled at me all the time and says, "Duncan, you're terrible." And I go, I know, I'm trying. And he was mad at me all the time because I was just terrible. And I know he was on the verge of firing me because I was just so terrible at it. Well, he yelled at me this one day that was pretty intense. And he just let me have it. And he says, "You need to figure this out." He didn't say, "or you're going to get fired," but I could hear in the tone of his voice. You know what I'm talking about? So I got pretty rattled. Well, after me getting yelled at on that day at that particular phone call, I had a lunch appointment with a potential new customer. And the customers that I was looking for were contractors who were building houses. And so I had a lunch appointment with this contractor. So I'm driving to the lunch, all rattled from my boss yelling at me. And I'm quite disturbed about it, but I'm thinking I can go get a burger, get some fries, get a shake, and I think that'll calm me down, right? Because I don't do well when people yell at me. I just don't do well. So anyway, I pull up to the burger joint where the contractor was. He's waiting for me. And he pulls up, we get out, and I don't know him, right? I don't know him that well. I know him a little bit because I looked up his company, but I don't know him. So part of the lunch was to get to know him. So we go in, we place our order, and we sit down at a booth. And now it's time for me to get to know him. Now, in the back of my head, I've got my boss still yelling at me, going, "You're not listening to people. You're not paying attention." And he's just in the back of my head, just yelling at me while I'm trying to have this conversation with this guy I don't know. So I start out with some really basic get to know you questions. And one of the first questions was, "How's business?" So we sit down and let's just say the guy's name is Joe. His name is not Joe, but let's just say his name is Joe. And we sit down and I say, "Hey, so Joe, how's business?" And he sits back and he goes, "Oh man, business is taking off. It is totally just taking off like crazy." I don't know what happened from getting yelled at to that moment, but that was the first time I was hyper focused watching this person, listening to this person. And I heard him say, "Business is taking off but I saw his hand gesture do this. And he said, yeah, business is taken off. And I sat there like, these are like split second moments. And I sat there looking at him going, wait, he said business is taking off, but his hand movements said it's going down. And I was like, whoa, like all of a sudden this new process of like listening to people was like starting to happen like right in front of me, because I have my boss in my back of my head saying, you need to pay attention to people or you're going to get fired, kind of a thing. So my job's on the line and I'm paying attention to this guy and I hear what he says, but I saw how he moved and they did not connect. I didn't know what to do, so I didn't do anything. I just thought, wow, that's weird. That didn't match. So we chit-chatted about business for a second, and I didn't know to ask clarifying questions. I didn't know stuff back then. And so then I thought, okay, new topic. So, hey, I heard that you have a lot of employees. How's that going with your crew? How's that relationship with your crew? And he goes, man, I just love my guys. They're just awesome. And he's punching his hand while he's telling me he loves his guys. And what I saw in my mind that his hand was one of the guys and he's like punching the guy. I was like, that does not look like love. That does not look like love. He's punching him. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. That didn't match. He's positive what he said about him, but he's punching his hand. So now that's twice. And my brain just kind of going, did you see that? And I was like, yeah, I saw that. I didn't know what to do. So then, okay, we talked about business. We talked about his guys, his team. And then I thought, all right, well, let's just talk about his family, get to know how many kids does he have, is he married and stuff. And I saw he had a wedding ring. So I'm figuring, okay, he's married. And so I started asking questions about his family and his kids. And we're talking about the kids and everything's good. And I brought up marriage. And I said, oh, so I see you're married. And I'm a new guy. So I asked questions like, so how's marriage? You going good? And in front of me, he was, his hands were apart. And while I asked the question about marriage, his one hand came over and hit his other hand like this. Like he's like, oh yeah. And his hand went like this. Now, when I was growing up as a kid, my dad brought home a box of chickens one day, and I thought they were going to be pets. But then my dad grabbed the axe. I was like, Dad, what are you doing with the axe? And he goes, oh, we're going to chop all these chickens' heads off. I was like, what? I'm like, oh, Dad, you're weird. And he goes, no, this is dinner. We're going to make food, and we're going to stick it in the freezer. And so I was part of helping chop the heads off the chicken. I know that sounds weird, but it's like in this moment, I saw this guy go like this. And I thought, wait a minute, he just got axed. He just got cut off. Something's cut off in his marriage. And so I was paying attention to his movements more than I've ever done in my entire life. I'm watching this guy during lunch, and I thought I was going to be able to relax. And I wasn't relaxing. I was like, what? He said his business is well, and he's pushing down. He said he likes his guys, and he's punched his hand. He said that marriage is okay, but then he does the old cut off, like chop. And I'm sitting there, and I'm wondering, we're eating our fries, and we're eating our burger, and I'm drinking my shake. And we're kind of in that moment where there's not talk happening because we just got done talking, so we're kind of eating. And my brain is like, what do I do? And I heard this little voice that said, get him. And I was like, get him? What does that mean? I heard this little voice say, you have to say something. I'm like, say what? It's like, you have to say something. You have to say something to him that what he's saying is not the truth. You need to get the truth out of him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't do this. I'm not a confrontational person. I don't do this. And this little voice to me is like saying, you need to say something. You need to bring this person to the truth. You need to let him know you see something else. You need to say something. And this pressure is building up inside of me. And I'm like, I don't do these things. And I'm hearing my boss over here going, "You're going to get fired." And I hear this other voice saying, "Say something." I'm getting stressed just telling you about this part. And so I look at the guy and I did this big pause, and he reaches over and grabs a fry and he's swirling it in the fry sauce, and he goes to eat the fry. I'll never forget the moment. He goes to eat the fry and I blurted out, "Hey, I think something's going on in your business. I don't think it's going as well as what you said. I think you probably have issues with your guys, and something's up with your marriage. You might even be sleeping on the couch. I don't think it's as good as what you said." And right then, I felt my spirit leave my body. Run out to the truck and drive away. And I was like, what? I was like, did I just say that? Because I was not that kind of person. I'm a very casual, calm, supportive guy. I'm not an aggressive, get in your face kind of guy. And I was getting in his face. And I called this stuff out. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting there still just looking at him. And a half-eaten fry he puts down on his plate. He sits back, folds his arms, and he looks at me. And he's just looking at me, and I'm thinking, oh, crap. He's going to yell at me. Oh, man, he's going to yell. It's going to be two people in the same day. Get yelled at by my boss, get yelled at by a potential client. I'm like, all right, brace myself. Here it comes. And he looks at me, and he says, "Did you talk to my wife? How do you know these things? Who did you talk to?" And then I realized I was on. I looked at him, I said, "Hey, stuff's going on, I can tell. What can I help you with? What's really going on in business?" And then he told me. I said, "What's really going on with your guys?" And he told me. I said, "Everything okay at home?" And then he told me. At the end of the conversation, he looked at me and he says, "You know what? I've been buying my products from your competitor for years. And nobody from that company has ever gotten to this level of conversation with me." And he's like, "How did you do that?" And I just looked at him and I said, "Hey, I'm here to listen and I want to help." And he goes, "You know what? I like you." I was like, whoa, he's not yelling at me. He's like, he likes me. And on the way out from the burger joint, he told me, he says, "Hey, I'll be over to your place to buy stuff. I like what you do. And thanks for being real with me." He goes, "That was cool." And we had this great conversation because we got to the truth. You see, as long as people lead their life with deception and cover up, as long as people cover up what's really going on, they can't fix it. They can't fix something that is not clear. And that day, I didn't buy his story because what he said and how he moved didn't match. It just didn't match. And I very tactfully said, "Something's not right here with what you're saying." And I didn't say he was moving his hands. I didn't call out his body language. I just noticed it and I stayed with it. I asked more questions and we got to the truth and we found some solutions. And in that moment, I realized, wow, this is powerful. This is amazing. And it opened my mind. And I started paying attention to people and started noticing that people really do say one thing, but their body language says another thing. And not all the time, now these days, not all the time do I get a chance to talk to people and help get to a clarification of what's really going on. But man, when I get to talk to somebody, I can help them find the truth of what's really going on. And we can get to a real truth conversation. And then guess what happens? We can solve problems. We can make fixes. We can make adjustments. And guess what happens? They do better. But here's the problem. People live a deceptive life. They don't want others to know they're struggling, so they pretend like they're fine. They say that they're fine, and they say it enough times that they convince themselves that they're fine. But the truth that's in their subconscious is coming out through their body language saying, we're not okay. Business is going down. We're having struggles with our guys, and we're being cut off from our wife. And their body language is telling the truth. But people aren't looking. They're not looking. They trust emails. They trust the text. They trust what people say, and then that's where they drop it. And it's like, that's not it. That's not all the communication. There's more to this. There's a truth teller inside all of us. It's our body language. It's a truth teller. Now, could somebody manipulate their body language? They could try. They could force themselves to move a certain way. But if you look close enough, they can't catch everything. They can't catch it all. But there's a truth teller trying to tell the truth, which, doesn't that make sense? If we knew the truth, we could actually make real adjustments and do really well and do real good because we are addressing what the real issue is. But the self-deception thing is like a plague that has gone across society, and rarely do you meet anybody who cares about it. We all know we're covering up information. We all know we're not telling the whole story. We all know we edit our life to make it look amazing. We all know it. And people are okay with it. But yet, so many people are struggling. So, reading body language for me has been a game changer. It's helped me understand people at a deep level, helped me help them get to the truth with my kids, my spouse, my friends, coworkers, my team, my employees, my clients. And being able to read body language has given me the insight of what to look for, what to look at. And now I'm going to show you some different body language moves that if I were you, I would pay attention to these things. I would notice these things. I would look at these things, and I would, and to see if this matches the way that the person is talking. And if it doesn't match, you need to ask some questions. You need to get clarification if it's not the truth. And if you sense that there's something being left out, trust those senses. If you picked up on a movement and you can tell that wasn't in alignment, then you know you need to ask more questions. So generally, people edit what they say. So does that make everybody a liar? No, just partial truth tellers. It's not that they're lying. It's just that it's getting edited. It's what they're conditioned to do by society and by the social norms of this world, is to edit what you say and make it sound a lot better than what it really is. Try to impress people. That's what's going on, is like, yeah, just try to, impress people. But then it ruins your life. It's so crazy. So a couple things we need to look at for body language is this. Let me get to the window. Boom, here we are. Okay, a couple things to look at is, there we go. When you're reading body language, you're looking for the movement that indicates a message. That is called a tell. A tell is the telling signal. So like if somebody chews their fingernail, they scratch their head, they pull on their ear, they rub their shoulder, that is called a tell because it's telling you something. So if you ever hear in the body language world, somebody say, oh, I saw the tell. And you're like, what is that? Now you know. That's what it means, is that it's called a tell. A couple rules about reading body language. You use reading body language to clarify communication. You use questions to confirm or discover the rest of the message. You're seeking for understanding, but you do not call out the gesture, and you do not correct others in public with their body language. The moment you call out, oh, you scratched your head, I saw that, you expose yourself to them, and now they will alter their body language. So you might try to impress people by calling out their body language, saying, hey, I saw you, you scratched your head. And you might think, oh, I'm so cool, look at me, I can call out people's gestures. But you're actually being a dork. So don't be a dork and do that to people. It's embarrassing, it's belittling, and it's not right to call out the gestures. So do not call out the gestures. Do not. Even if they ask you, how did you know this? You don't tell them what you saw. You don't. Because the moment you tell them, you saw them scratch their head, tug on their ear, rub their shoulder, rub their thumb, or cover up their thumb, and you tell them that, they will alter themselves in front of you for the rest of your life. And now you just added difficulty to reading their body language. You added the difficulty. The next one is do not correct others in public. Don't do that. Again, you're belittling them. It's not right. It's not necessary. And you're not there to correct people. You're there to understand people. So these are the top gestures that I would suggest that you watch. Is the interaction that their body has to what's being said. So during a conversation, these right here, like take a screenshot, get your cell phone out or get on your computer and take a screenshot of this so you can go back and look at this, remember this, study this. These are the main gestures that I watch for myself to look for any movements in these particular areas. While I'm talking, okay, that's the scenario. While I'm talking, if they scratch or itch their head, if they do a small itch, they need more information from me. If they do a large itch or scratch, I'm giving them too much information. So if they itch their head, I notice how big or small it is, and that helps me gauge how I'm talking to them. If they rub their eyes, I'm not making sense to them. If they tug on their ears, they don't understand what I just said. If they rub their neck, they don't agree with what I said. If they rub their shoulder, they're not going to do what I suggested to do. If they put their hands behind their back or hide their hands in some form, what that means is they're not participating in the conversation. They're out. If the hands go out of sight, then they are pulling out. Those right there of this sheet is the ones I watch the most. And that helps me gauge the conversation I'm having with somebody. So when I'm coaching and mentoring, I watch for those signals. And if those signals happen, then I adjust to be able to keep them connected to who I am. So even them not saying anything, they're giving me signals of how to stay in the conversation and how to be in tune with how their brain is responding to who I am. Now, here's one that I think is super important too, is when you are talking to somebody is to pay attention to where their eye movements go. Now, eyes that look in different directions are actually giving you indicators of what they're thinking. So for example, let's say I'm having a coaching appointment and as we're talking, they look to the side, like their eyes literally look to the left or they look to the right. And if they look to the left or they look to the right, that's actually telling me that they're listening to some internal dialogue. It could be their friend, their spouse, their parents, could be the devil, it could be an angel. They could be listening to anybody inside their head. And so if they are looking to the side, I know they're not listening to me, they're listening to somebody else. And I'd want to know who that is. So I'll ask a question. Hey, what were you just thinking about? Who are you listening to? Because I want to find out who they're listening to. If they look up during the discussion, I know that they're actually looking for ideas and looking for inspiration. If they look down, I know that they have emotions coming up. If they look down and to the left, I know that they are referring to past experiences. If they look down to the right, I know that they're imagining future experiences. And this has to do with fears. If they look down to the right, if they look down to the left, they're accessing memories. If they look down to the right, they're accessing their fears about what's coming up in their life. If they look up to the left, I know they're more factual thinkers. If they look up to the right, they're more imaginative listeners. And so the way a person's eyes move help me understand the way that they function and how they function. Now, this is another great one to get a screenshot of. Take a screenshot, get your phone out, take a picture. And you want to watch eye movements on people and see where their eyes are moving, because every time their eyes move to a different spot, it's telling you how they're functioning, where they're looking for information. And like I say, I say that the eyes are the librarian to the mind. It looks where the information is. Okay, so let me go back to this one here just for a moment. The reason why, one thing I forgot to say on this, one of the reasons why this is important to me, that the eyes, the head, the ears, the neck, and the shoulders, and the hands, I watch these movements because if I'm having a discussion with them, I want to see how they're reacting to the topics. I want to see how they're responding to the topics. Now, let's say they're talking. They're talking, and they reach up and scratch their head while they're talking. Well, let's say they scratch their head a little bit and they're talking. Well, they're only sharing with me small amounts of information. If they reach up and rub their eyes while they're talking to me, they're not telling me the whole story. If they reach up and tug their ears while they're talking to me, they're hearing what they're saying and they're getting uncomfortable. They're sharing too much. Or they're about ready to share something that's going to be uncomfortable. If they rub their shoulders, a shoulder, while they're talking to me, they don't want to tell me what they're telling me. And so I know that they're going to leave information out. If they rub their neck while they're talking to me, they're probably not telling me exactly what's going on because they don't want to tell me what they're saying. So they're going to leave information out. So if they rub their neck, rub their shoulder, tug on their ear, rub their eye, or itch their head while they're talking to me, then there's information being left out. And those signals are clearly telling me something's being left out. So scratch head, pull ear, rub shoulder, rub neck, or rub their eye. I know to ask more questions because they're uncomfortable and about what they're talking about. And those are all indicating in their own special way, there's more information. So eyes have to do with the whole scenario. Ears have to do with what was said. Neck has to do with their opinion. Head has to do with what they're thinking. The shoulder has to do with their responsibilities. But if somebody is doing these moves while they're talking to me, even in the smallest amount, I know they left something out. No question. Because the moment they go to leave something out, whichever that information refers to, they're going to do one of those signals. Now, the big one is watching somebody's hands. Watch people's hand movements. Watch what they do. And watch if their hands match the story. And watch if the hands get hidden from you. If their hands ever go into their pockets or go behind their back or go somewhere and they hide their hands during a part of the conversation, something wasn't put out there. They didn't show you everything. Once they hide their hands or cover their hands up or they even fold their arms while they're talking, if their hands go under their armpits, there's something else there. So that's one thing I watch for too, is with hands, is it tells me when they're fully engaged and then when something is getting not fully exposed. Now, it doesn't mean that they're lying. They might have reasons why they're withholding information from you. It does not mean that they're liars. Don't jump to think that people are instantly liars. That's not what it means. It means that they are withholding information. And it does not make them a bad person. It just means they're withholding information. And so now you know, man, I think I should ask some questions, see what else there is. So a rub of the eye, a scratch of the head, a tug of the ear, a rub of the shoulder, a rub of the neck, or hands that get pulled back or pulled away tells you that something's being held back or pulled away. For example, look at this. You're having a discussion with somebody and they do this move. They lean to the left, they put their hand on their head, their head on their hand. And what that's telling you is that their head is heavy. So they have to hold up their head. You've given them too much information and you've overwhelmed them with data. If they hold their hand up in front of their mouth, they have something to say. They're trying to like hold it back like a dam in front of a river. They're like holding it back. So if you ever see that signal, stop talking so that they'll talk to you. This is another signal of their head being full, but the visual was too much. The diagram, the visual stimulation was too much, so their head's tired and they have to hold their head up. So you got to back off because there's too much information. If they fold their arms, that means they are either protecting themselves or they're deep in thought. If they cover their mouth with their whole hand, they've been sitting there for a while with something to say and you're not noticing the cue and you're not giving them a chance to talk. If they lean back and they put their hands on their knee and kind of casually sit there and they turn sideways, that means that they are done. Like there's just too much. They're disengaging from what it is that you're doing. So these are cues to watch for when you're coaching or holding an appointment or talking to your kids or talking to your spouse. Because if you see these signals and you don't adjust, they're already disconnecting from the conversation. Wow. Okay, let me go back to this. I'm going to go back to this just for a second and point out these simple moves. Now, hopefully you got a screenshot of this. Let me just move this arrow out of the way. Get a screenshot of that. Get it? Get a screenshot of this. Get it? Got it? Get a screenshot of this. This is where you start. Is there more? Of course there's more. There's a lot more. But this is the place where you start and you start practicing this. What I need to know from you right now, would you like me to do level 2 of body language? Now that we did the foundation and I showed you where to start to watch, would you like to know more? And if you'd like to know more, I want you to get in the chat box right now and tell me, hey, Kirk, give us level 2. Because I'd love to. I'd love to put together another webinar, maybe like in either 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now, and be able to do a level 2. But you got to tell me you want it, because I don't know how much you're able to absorb, because that was a lot of information, especially about the foundation of where body language comes from. But I have to cover that, or you won't know the reasons why it's important to do this. But yeah, if you want more about this body language, then put it in the chat box. So later when I'm reviewing this, I can see how many of you are asking for that. And that'll help me understand if I ought to take the time and the effort to pull that together in a slide and be able to show that to you. Because I'd love to show it to you, because to me, this is a big deal. Really big deal to start to pay attention. Now, I just gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 different movements to start to notice. 20 different movements. That's plenty to start to notice, because too much and you won't look at anything. You won't look at anything, but 20 movements. Now, above and beyond what I just showed you with these 20 movements is watch to see if what they say and what they're physically doing matches. If it doesn't match, ask questions. Be curious to find the rest of the information that they edited out. Just be curious. Don't be an interrogator. You don't want to turn into a weirdo and become an interrogator. That's not fun. No, nobody likes to be interrogated, so don't turn into an interrogator. But for you to be able to be curious and to watch for these 20 moves, just to notice them. And if you're like, oh, what did that mean? Then you pull up your phone later afterwards and scroll to the picture and go, oh yeah, that's right. That's what's going on. And so just to start to familiarize yourself with these first 20 moves and looking for if what they say and what they do physically matches or not. All of this comes down to knowing when it's time to ask more questions. Because what you're really getting to is the truth. That's what you're doing, is you're practicing discovering really what the truth is. And by doing that, what you're doing is you're actually raising your skill level from being on the weak end to being up at a higher level of being more accurate in your communication. Because what usually blocks you to not be able to do that is whenever you discount yourself or think being an empath is weird, or you kind of want to shut down your gifts and talents or hide your talents. And you don't want to participate in these kinds of things because it will cause you to not exercise your ability to be more in tune. Now, remember, reading body language is an ability to get in tune to people. It's not a a Sunday afternoon, dinner trick. It's about communication. I'm really surprised that they don't teach reading body language in school. I'm like, why not? It would help us all find the truth. If the truth is in the subconscious, I mean, you guys saw that slide. If the truth is in the subconscious, it's like, why would we not teach our kids how to see the truth? Where's that slide at? Right there. If the truth is in the subconscious, why would we not want our kids and us growing up to tell the difference between truth and lie? Interesting, isn't it? Why would that be withheld from people? And why is it seen as this extra thing you can go dabble in, but it's not talked about with family? To me, I think a great conversation in family is to talk about how to read body language. Makes sense. Help your kids see the truth. Help them. Because if they don't know, they're going to get deceived. So to me, it's a life skill. It really is a life skill. Because the last thing you want to do is wander around in life. That's called being misled. That's called like trying to live a life of partial truths. It's like so difficult. So my attempt today is to help take you from an unknown about this skill and talent and not avoid it, but to actually start to engage in this and to tell yourself, I want to figure this out. I want to learn more about this. I really want to apply this in my life so I can understand people better. Just to even start to whet that appetite and that curiosity to start to watch the movements of people more than what you've been doing in the past. And yeah, listen to what they say, but look for what was left out. So good. It's so good. Okay, I'm going to put in another plug here for this. You can learn how to be a life coach. You can. You don't have to have already been one, but you learning these skills are going to lead you to want to serve people and help people, because when they are in a level of self-deception, they're going to need help moving forward in life. And you being an empath, and starting to learn more about body language and learn more about how to be a healthy empath, wow, you can do a huge work in serving people and being able to help them. So I'm going to put that plug in for you of what you could do. And I know you're going to think, I can't help people. I can't even fix myself. Now, here's the thing. Your empath gift really activates when you serve others, and then it helps you. It's a gift you use to serve others, and then through those actions and those experiences, it benefits you. So you still win a lot of improvement and a lot of success because you are helping others. But to try to use your empath gift just on yourself, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I encourage you to activate your empath abilities and not hide them, but really try to help people solve problems and help them move forward in life, be able to do some good in the world. And if you ever wanted to get organized in how to do this, you really can learn the skills of how to be a mentor, a coach, a presenter. And if you've ever thought about doing this, but just were a little nervous about it and you're still doubting yourself and questioning yourself, what you need is a good training program. That's what you need. You need a good training program, because really what you're doing is you're trying to move from the feelings of being uncoordinated, feeling awkward, feeling unbalanced, feeling uncertain, just feeling like you really don't have yourself together, and being able to move yourself to this level. I know that's the same thing I went through. Same thing I went through. I was like, how am I supposed to do this? I know I'm supposed to help people, but how am I supposed to do this? I don't feel like I'm put together enough. So for years, I struggled trying to learn how to be a better teacher, a coach, a mentor, a presenter. I struggled for about 6, 7 years trying to figure it out. And I realized now after 16 years of doing this, I realized I need to help other people shorten their learning curve. Because boy, when you're struggling trying to figure this out, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy, makes you super moody, and there's a lot of potholes you can fall into. There's a lot of problems you can run into. Not knowing how to correct yourself, not knowing how to get yourself organized. It's kind of like this right here. It's like you want to get there, but it just feels like you have to jump so far. Like you have to jump, and it's too far to jump. And so I know what you do is you think, I can't do that. It's too far. But I feel like my calling in my life right now, I'm 52 years old. For the next 48 years, I'm going to be teaching people how to do this. How to build the bridge from one step to the next so that they can cross those bridges and to be able to move themselves to the level of being able to teach. Because if you could teach, I know you would fulfill your life purpose. Because if you're on this webinar, you're like me, and there inside you is this secret calling, this like private secret calling to help other people move forward. I know you know what I'm talking about. And I know there's some who are watching right now who already are coaches, who already are mentors and presenters, and they love it. They know that this is their calling. But if you're sitting here listening going, I don't know if this is for me or not, Kirk, I'm not quite sure. It is, but this is what it feels like. What you're looking for is somebody who could help you cross those bridges and build those bridges, build the bridges and cross those bridges so that you can get organized, get clear, get confident, learn the skills. Because you have the gift. You have the gift. It's just you don't know how to put it together. And that's what I'm dedicating the rest of my life to do, is to help people who feel the calling and they've got to get out there to make a difference. and help them build the bridge, cross the bridge, and really, really step into their life purpose. Because when you do, man, you just feel so good. Seriously, if I could come to your house and I could just come there every day and have breakfast, that would be a lot of breakfasts. I think Saturday I'd go fishing and Sunday I'd go to church, but Monday through Friday, if I could show up, I would. And I would share with you what I've learned over the last 16 years. I would share with you how I built 40 training programs that have generated over $20 million in sales. If I can build 40 training programs and have over $20 million in sales from those programs, I could help you build your first program. I could help you in how to promote your program. I've been doing this for 16 years. I love what I do. I could help you. I could help you do presentations. I could help you make recordings and videos. I could help you change people's lives by you giving people scholarships, get you on TV, whatever you want to do. Man, I can help you with that. I'm a goal setter and a goal getter. But I am not going to die with all this information going to the grave with me. I'm going to give this information to someone because God has blessed my life with a lot of understanding. And all this understanding has got to be passed on to somebody else. And I hope you're one of those people. And so what I did to be able to make this possible is I created a mastermind for coaches, mentors, and speakers. And if you're an up and coming life coach, you're an up and coming speaker, you're perfect. You don't already have to be a life coach. You don't already have to be a presenter. But if you want to do this, if you're interested in this, here's the qualifications. You want to learn, you want to make a difference, you're ready to stretch, you're willing to invest in yourself, and you're willing to do what it takes, then you qualify to step into this training program. So this mastermind, this is where I do all my top level training. All my top level training goes to these people. And these people are awesome. They are off the charts. Oh, so beautiful. And we get to connect to each other. We get to be around each other. We get to learn from each other. We get to have experiences together. And you know, when you do that, you escalate and evolve at a higher level. So if you've ever felt like you wanted to help others, this would be a great place to get training, to get support, to get the experience. And I've been doing this now 16 going on 17 years, and I want to share everything with you. And what's cool about this is it definitely has a plan to it. There's definitely a plan. We can't just, randomly do this. There's got to be a starting modules 1 and 2, and it's got to go all the way through all 16 modules. So this program, this mastermind program, that you would learn how to be a life coach, learn how to present this material that you have to teach. It is an 18-week training, right? It's not 3 days, 18 weeks. How long is that? That's 4.5 months. Wow, right? It's open enrollment, which means it's always going on. This mastermind has been going on for about 2.5 years now. And the people in here are just fantastic. And the success and the education and the stretching that's going on is beautiful. So if you've ever thought about this and you're like, yeah, I really like to connect with somebody who gets me. I'm an empath. I've got great background on the spiritual level of things. I'm an empath. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I'm a presenter. And I'm successful at what I do. And I can help you do the same thing. I can. And it's something you can learn. And if you love reading body language, you love the body language topic, or you want to learn how to read or listen to people's tone of voice or do some wordsmithing, there's so many cool skills that you can learn from me here in this mastermind. So I invite you to at least check it out. It's really easy to check this out. Really, this is what you do. How you check this out is you go to this link and you can go here and read more about it. That would be your first step, is to type in your screen, like your little search bar for like if you're going to look up a website, kind of a bar, type in 3ke.2/book a call. And it will take you to a page that will tell you more about what this mastermind is all about. Now, you know what? I got to check something really quick. No, actually, I can't. Let's see here. Could I do that? Hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. Checking something. Oh, yeah. You can, if you want to talk to somebody about this mastermind, you go to this link right here. And you would give you a chance to book an appointment to talk to one of my team members about the mastermind. And they'll tell you all about it. And you can ask your questions and they'll answer all your questions. And then that will give you all the information you need to make a decision. But yeah, you can talk to one of my team members right here. Here's one of them. I don't know which one you would end up having an appointment with, but these are all my awesome team members. And so when you book the call, you'll talk to one of my team members. They can answer your questions. You can ask questions. They'll give you information about the mastermind. And then from there, you get to make a decision, because really, we can't sell you on this. There's no way. Because if I sold you on this, that means maybe you weren't ready for it. But if you know, hey, I got to get after this, Kirk. I need somebody to help me. I want to get my content. I got to find content. I want to know how to teach. I want to know how to coach. Wow. I would love to share with you how this works. Okay. So over here on the side of your screen, let me see, got to push the right buttons here so it puts it up there in front of you. Okay, there. Over on the side, you can click that button right there. Click here to book a call. And it would take you to a calendar, which then will give you the options of where those open appointments are, so that you could talk to one of my team members and they can give you all the information and answer your questions about this mastermind program with me, with Kirk Duncan. Now, the other link I wanted to give you is this. There's another link that if you wanted to go and just check it out more for yourself before you book a call, then you can go to this link, the 3ke.2/mastermind. And I just pulled it up, and yeah, it'll pull it up and could I show that? Anyway, you could go to that and it will give you information about the program too. And there is a link on there for you to book a call from that page. So either one of these will give you information about the program. That would be your next step. If you would want me to be a trainer for you in your life, if you want me to be a coach, a mentor, a trainer for you, and you want to learn from me, that's what you would do. Go to this link, which is over here on the right side of the screen, and book a call, talk to a team, talk to a live person. Some people like to talk to a live person. Or go here and you can read about it, see some testimonial videos, see what it's all about, and then book a call. But either way, it'll lead you to having a conversation with one of my team members. And they're so cool. They'll help you with that and be able to help you see if this is the right fit for you or not. Because maybe it's not. Maybe it is. But I thought since you and I met today, it would be wise for me to put this in front of you and say, hey, you want to move forward? Yeah, this is what you do. I'm here for you. I'm ready to go. So yeah, the program's ready to go. It's been functioning now for 2.5 years. We know what we're doing. We know how to train you. We know how to support you. It's just if you're willing to step into this life purpose to change people's lives. And it could be the missing piece. It really could be. Could be what you're missing. I think the empath side of you is a part that you would benefit a lot from learning about. And the education in the mastermind is off the charts. So I think it's time for you to get your act together, right? Take action and serve others. But here's something to think about. You can stop questioning yourself and think about others. Here's something that I think about. If I were to help somebody else and they caught the vision, what would happen then? Let's say I train you, I help you, and you get it. Like, you're like, Kirk, I got this. I want to do this. I want to change people's lives. I want to do webinars. I want to coach people around the world. And then you light up. You know what you're going to do? You're going to teach somebody else. And then that person, they're going to light up because you totally got to them. You got to them. And you made a difference. You know what happens next? They go to teach their little people. And their little people get it. They get excited. And you know what's about little people? Little people know little people. Now, I don't know if you think about this, but this is what I think about. This is the up and coming generation. They need some help. And I know that if I can activate you, you can activate other adults. And you will have an impact on them, which will have an impact on their children. Those children will have an impact on their friends. Because you know that when this friend right here is struggling, they're going to reach out to their friends before they reach out to their parents. You know that. A struggling youth is going to reach out to their friends first before they reach out to family. And what if these youth had been trained by the adult that you taught? By you teaching this adult, waking it up inside this adult to empower their children then are well equipped with life skills. And then this friend who's struggling, who's having a challenge, they wish that they had it. They go to those kids and those kids pass it on to them saying, hey, this is how you change your life. This is what you do. Then what happened is you and I just made a big impact on this person who helped this youth avoid committing suicide. This is my secret agenda with this mastermind. My secret agenda is for me to teach you how to teach others so that their kids can teach their friend who's going down a dark path. Sure, I can teach this youth, but they're all over the world. I can't get to all of them. But what if I trained you with what I know? And then you train others. You teach people what I teach you. That'll help their kids so their kids are prepared and smart and know how to change the voices in their head and how to manage emotions, because every youth out there right now is dealing with heavy emotions and very intense self-talk that's negative. And the suicide is going up. It's going up. So yes, I would like you to be part of the mastermind so that you can live your life purpose and feel good as a person. But I think we got to get beyond ourselves. We need to help the other adults understand these life skills so that their family's empowered, because guaranteed they're going to know somebody who's struggling. And it's getting worse and worse and worse as the days, the hours go by. The number of youth who are confused and lost about who they are. So this is my plan. My plan with the mastermind is to teach what I know to those in the mastermind, teach them everything I've got to help them, because then I'm not doing it by myself. We're creating a huge community of coaches who get it, who are deeply trained on visualization, the power of language, and emotional management. And so these coaches, mentors, and presenters are going out into the world on their own business, their own plan, their own content, but it's got the foundational principles that need to be taught to these other people so that their kids can understand it, so they can help their friends who are struggling. And if you're in on some kind of movement like this, then this is your place. If you really believe in this kind of movement. And I got to tell you, it brings tears to my eyes every time I bring it up. But I have a very tender spot in my heart about these little people. 19, 18, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, all down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down to these little people, all those ages from 1 to 19 years old. They need help. It's not just them, but I know that they need help. And the adults need help too. That's the purpose behind the mastermind. As I can't take what I've learned to the grave, I've got to pass it on to as many people as possible. And if you'd like to be one of those people, and you'd like to get in on this movement and not try to do it by yourself, but to surround yourself with people who really care and are really doing everything it takes to get out there and change the world, this is a great mastermind to be part of. And the skills you're going to learn, you're going to keep those skills your whole life. And even after you die, you will still have those skills with you. And maybe God will hire you on the other side to go coach people in hell. I don't know. Maybe. I'm thinking he will. I'm thinking if you die with coaching skills, you'll have a job security in heaven because you know how to teach. I really think up in heaven, they're looking for great teachers and they're helping us down here learn it now so we can do a good work here. And then when we get over there, we're still going to have a job. So that's how I think. I just know it's going to happen that way. I just know. Okay, so what do you do? Well, you can go click the link on the right side of the screen, pick a date and a time to have a conversation with one of my team members. Or if you got to check out some more information before you do that, go here. It's totally fine. Check us out. We're good people. If you've never met us before, well, we've been doing this for a long time, right? So either way, sooner or later, book a call with my team. That way you're talking to a live person and they can answer any question you have. They're good people. We're on a mission and we have a purpose. That's what we're doing. It's so cool. And if you're somebody who wants to, get your life in order, be sure that your gifts and talents are center to what you're doing. Care about your own gifts and your own talents. Don't hide them. Don't hide. Life is short. You don't want to hide your gifts. And I know you're hiding. At some level, I know you're holding back. And I know you're hiding. And I can help you with that. Fear is a state of mind. It's not who you naturally are. You were designed to have faith. You're designed to serve people. You're designed to make a difference. And I'd really like to hang out with you. It would be so awesome. I'd really like to hang out with you. So go book a call or go check out that other site and let's get everything moving to the next level. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to talking to you on the next webinar that I'm sure we'll be doing in a couple weeks. So thank you. If you liked what you learned here, be sure to make a comment in the chat box. I always like hearing that, making sure that I'm doing a good job here and sharing and giving information that's useful and that educates you at that good level. But yeah, my last request, don't hide. Time is running out. Don't hide. Your gifts and talents being hidden is exactly what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to just cover it up and hide and think that you're a nobody. And that's not true. You have gifts and talents that are going to make a lasting impact in people's lives. But you got to come out from behind the bush. You got to come out from underneath the rock. You got to quit hiding behind all your excuses in your life that you've been using, that you're not meant for this. It's not you. You're not a business person. You're not an entrepreneur. You don't know how to do this. It's a skill to be learned. And today, you and I met, and it's my work here to say to you, get started in teaching and helping people. And if I'm your trainer, book a call, see if this is the right time and place for you. Find out. But don't let the devil live in your head anymore. Get the devil out of you by taking action to serve people. Cool. All right. Got to go. Love you. Thank you for your time and energy. And I hope to see you again soon. Awesome. Thank you.